Dear friends, welcome to another episode of Geopolitical and Military News. In this video, we will talk about the expansion of the Russian army, which in 2024 will increase its contingent by 180,000 soldiers, reaching 1.5 million military personnel, the largest post-Soviet Russian force. On September 16th, Vladimir Putin signed a law urgently ordering the increase of 180,000 soldiers to the Russian army, raising its contingent to 1.5 million, making it the second largest army in numerical terms worldwide, behind only the Chinese army, which has a little over 2 million soldiers, and ahead of the US Army, which has 1.4 million. But what is behind this increase? Why does Putin need an army of 1.5 million soldiers? In the decree signed on September 16th, Putin ordered a global increase of the Russian armed forces to 2.38 million soldiers, of which 1.5 million will be in active service, distributed across the 6 branches of the Russian armed forces. The army, the largest of these branches, will receive the largest number of new soldiers, increasing from the current 600,000 to just over 700,000 in active service. This is not the first time Putin has expanded his army. Since the beginning of the Russian invasion of Ukraine on February 24th, 2022, Putin has ordered 3 troop increases. The first, still in 2022, was 137,000. The second, in the summer of 2023, was 170,000. And now, in 2024, it will be 180,000 new soldiers. These increases reveal a gradual pattern of strengthening the armed forces, most likely a reflection of the growing casualties suffered by Russian forces in the invasion of Ukraine. However, the reason for this increase is not exclusively tied to Ukraine. When Putin invaded Ukraine, Russia and NATO shared just over 1,200 kilometers of borders stretching across the Baltic states, Poland, and Norway. These were well-known protected borders, securely marked on the Russian side. However, due to the invasion of Ukraine, Sweden and Finland decided to join the alliance to ensure that Putin wouldn't do to them what he is currently doing to Ukraine. With the entry of these 2 countries, Russia's border with the alliance more than doubled, now including 1,350 kilometers of hard-to-access areas, dotted with numerous lakes, swamps, and rivers, with few roads and navigable waterways. Contrary to what Putin tells his audience, NATO does not pose a direct attack threat to Russia, as both sides know that such an attack could quickly escalate into nuclear war. Even though there is no imminent threat of attack, Putin needs to reinforce the Russian military presence at these new borders, if only to show NATO that there are Russian soldiers on the other side of the barbed wire fence. We do not know the exact destination of these new Russian soldiers, but various sources indicate that at least a quarter of these new troops will be sent to strengthen the Russian presence, not only along the 1,300 kilometers of the Finnish border, but also along the 700 kilometers of the border between Russia and Ukraine, in areas not currently directly involved in the war. What happened recently in the Kursk Oblast, which was invaded by Ukraine, with Ukrainians still occupying about 1,200 kilometers of Russian territory, showed the world how much Russia has neglected its borders. This may encourage Ukraine to launch further attacks against other Russian regions. Therefore, Putin urgently needs to reinforce these borders while simultaneously sending troops to press and try to expel Ukraine from Kursk. Beyond the border issue, Putin needs to replenish his losses and create new units to bring more dynamism to his invasion. This decree from Putin also revealed that Russian recruitment through contracts with the Russian Ministry of Defense, which, according to the Kremlin, attracted around 450,000 new soldiers for the invasion of Ukraine in 2023 alone, is not sufficient to meet the brutal demand for new soldiers on the front line. Through these contracts, the Russian Ministry of Defense, offering very attractive compensation, tries to lure young adults to maintain a more or less constant daily flow of at least 1,000 new soldiers to the Ukrainian front line. The problem with this practice is that the amounts offered by the Russian government are extremely high, with the Kremlin paying for a year of deployment in Ukraine the equivalent of over 5 years of the average salary in Russia. This does not even account for the million-dollar life insurance payments the Russian government is obligated to make when a soldier is killed or injured in combat. According to various sources, this method of maintaining a constant flow of new combatants is unsustainable in the long term. Russia can continue this for 3 or 4 years, but maintaining this level of spending much longer, while simultaneously bearing enormous costs for other aspects of the war, is seen by many as a sure recipe for long-term defeat. Thus, one of the additional goals of the army's contingent increase is to give Putin another source from which he can draw additional means to reinforce his invasion of Ukraine in the future. In summary, these 3 troop increases, culminating with the announcement in September that will make the Russian army the second largest in the world, also highlight how draining the Russian invasion of Ukraine has been in human terms. In 2.5 years of war, Putin has been forced to implement a partial mobilization, offer small fortunes to recruit soldiers, and expand his army 3 times. All this to meet the demands of his invasion. How long he will be able to continue draining Russia to fulfill his expansionist desires is something we cannot determine yet. Thank you for watching the video until the end. If you liked the content, don't forget to leave a like. This helps the channel grow and reach more people. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike and explain in the comments how we can improve. Also, comment with suggestions for topics we can cover in future videos. Insulting comments or those defending dictatorships or war criminals will be blocked without exception. Thank you for your understanding. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing by clicking the subscribe button below and hitting the bell to receive all notifications. Thank you. See you next time.